Christmas Eve is 9 days away at the time that I'm publishing this video, so calling this a gift guide is probably not the best idea. I'm Justin B. McBride, and this is Local Lander Episode 3. Local Lander is my weekly adventure series documenting my Overland-style adventures that are within 12 hours of my home base of Salt Lake City. A big part of my shift to this video style is to be more straightforward and honest with you. As the holiday season rolls around, you've probably seen a lot of videos of creators like myself sitting behind a desk talking about a huge collection of gear that they think that you should buy for yourself or someone you're gifting to. And that's because they're chasing commissions, affiliate commissions. And I do the same thing, and I've made videos like that in the past myself. However, a lot of the gear that we talk about in those videos has been sent to us throughout the year, and it's a good time just to kind of, give it a nudge and see if we can get a few more sales. I don't want to do that anymore. And I don't think you want to see videos like that anymore. So this year, I want to bring you with me on a close-to-home overnight camp trip to tell you about the gear that I actually use. And while it's still an attempt to get some of those year-end commissions, I'm not going to overly promote something that I am not genuinely using, because you may not actually use it and it could be a waste of your money. I mean it when I say I'm really going for honesty here. So before you comment that this is one big commercial disguised as an adventure, this is me telling you that this is one big commercial disguised as an adventure. So please, buy all of this stuff using the links in the description. I do make a commission off of those, and they help me feed my family. It's kind of how I get paid to do this job. Okay, let's get into this commercial disguised as an adventure. I don't know how I convinced my brother to join me on this freezing cold trip, but he is here with me, and if you haven't heard yet, he is starting a YouTube channel as well, which I will tag in the video description, along with links to all of the gear we're about to go over. Tonight, we're just above the Great Salt Lake on a trail locally known as the Bountiful Bee. If you're from the Salt Lake Valley, you'll probably recognize this trail. The drive up the canyon was surprisingly easy. The snow was decently soft, so my Falcon RTs did a great job pushing through all of that whipped cream snow. As we get to camp, my very first priority is setting up light. I love the Devos Light Rangers, and I feel like I talk about them all the time. They are listed as $170 on the Devos website, but they always seem to be on sale. Today, on the day that I'm publishing this, they are $150, and if you get a 2-pack, like I have, I think you save like another $50 more. The concept behind these lights is very simple. It is a light on a stick that you can move around as needed. These lights aren't connected to a battery, they are very lightweight, and they're quick to set up. I keep them in my deck drawers for easy access, not only at camp, but just for general use. I've even set these up at a local skate park. It is definitely a tool we all will use and something you should consider for your gift list. I did bring Goal Zero's competing light on this trip, the Goal Zero Skylight, because it is so much brighter than the Devos Light Rangers, but the setup is a bit more cumbersome and it does require an external battery to take advantage of its maximum brightness for its maximum length of time. And we honestly didn't set it up because we were in favor of the Devos. If you would like to see the Goal Zero in action, we used it in episode 2 of Local Lander during the eclipse, which likely has a link in the corner of this video. With the lights set up, my next priority is heat. Out here in the snow and often in dispersed camping spots in the desert, there won't really be existing fire rings, so for that reason, I've started packing a solo stove bonfire. This is their mid-size smokeless fire pit. While they do have a smaller one named the Ranger, and I have used that in a video in the past, I've found that I can't find firewood that is small enough to fit into the Ranger to take advantage of the reburn that makes it a smokeless fire pit. When I compare a solo stove to the Howl that I was carrying in my last video, this takes up about the same amount of space, but I have to say it is an excellent tool for avoiding heavy smoke and for staying warm on these cold nights, and for around $250 this has been a worthwhile addition to the truck for camping or even those backyard s'more sessions. This firewood bag that I have is something I talk about all the time. This is one of my favorite ways to avoid getting slivers and splinters in my camper, and it only costs around $30 on Amazon. In fact, every time I do talk about it in a video, they sell out. So if you're actually watching this video and not just scrolling on Instagram, listening to my voice, give that link some love right away before they're gone. I really do love this bag, and I feel like I'm saying I love lamp, but I do. I love this bag. It looks expensive with its rustic canvas and the pleather combo, but it is easily affordable and is the best way I know of to carry wood in your vehicle without getting it in your fingers and stepping on it and all that stuff.
Wow.
Splitting wood isn't an exact science. I feel like every time I grab a piece on video, it has a big knot in it and I fight with the stupid thing. But I have found a hatchet that I like, and it makes this job pretty easy as long as the piece of wood is easy to chop. This is the Gerber Gear Bushcraft hatchet. It has a secret storage in the handle that I actually don't really use, but you could use it to easily, I don't know, store away a lighter or other fire starting tools as you need them. I don't carry this hatchet because it has a secret pocket. I carry this hatchet because the sheath is easy to secure and the blade is sharp, and it's from a trusted brand like Gerber. It's actually the exact same hatchet I bought for my brother for his birthday this year. So I can tell you firsthand, it makes a good gift. And at around $50, it's right in that quality gift giving budget. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I like to show off my fire striking skills. I use the Bigfoot Bushcraft fire starters and a ferro rod, and I generally strike my fires and then slowly build them up. However, on this trip, I need heat fast. So I am going to use my Snow Peak folding torch. This will get a roaring fire in no time. So I don't have to have the patience that it normally takes to strike and slowly build that fire. Plus, it sounds really cool. And just like the Gerber hatchet, it's right in that $50 range, so it's perfect for a gift or gift to yourself. As I was setting up this camera shot, I realized just how close I was parked to my brother and how close I would be to the chimney of his hot tent. So I decided to move the truck just a little bit to avoid catching all of his smoke and sparks in the middle of the night. Also, I want to point out that it's only about 6 p.m. in this shot. I think the dark is the hardest part of winter camping. The cold would be more manageable if the sun was up. But when it's pitch black and there isn't much to do but stand around, it makes these winter trips much more challenging. Okay, with the truck moved, I now have room to cook dinner. I recently replaced my dual drawer deck with their new mega drawer system. In fact, I did it the morning before this trip, so this is my first time using it. While I was skeptical of the single drawer, I found that building out my kitchen kit into one of their boxes actually made it pretty simple to find what I needed without having to access the drawer all the time. I use a partner steel stove, and this is one of the items on my gift list that I'm actually going to say you probably shouldn't get for someone. And that's because it was expensive. And because it was expensive, I just keep using it. It's not like it's some fantastic burner. If you're looking for a stove, I just saw that at REI, Jetboil now has a single burner version of their stove called the Half Gen. It costs about as much as this did at around $200, but is a much smaller footprint to carry. Just recently, I upgraded all of my pans to the new OXO or OXO carbon steel this year. These suckers are amazing. They have a lot of the cooking properties of cast iron without the side effects, and they're relatively inexpensive. This 8-inch was around $25, and the 10-inch was around $45. While I'm cooking my dinner, you may hear my brother sawing down some of the firewood to fit in his hot tent stove. In previous videos, I have used the Agawa Gear Boreal saw, and while I love that saw, a bunch of you commented on those old videos suggesting I try the Silky saw. So, to all of you who suggested that, thank you. This thing is fantastic. It made light work for my brother, as you can see, and the Agawa is still just sitting in the case on the ground next to him as he glides through the logs with the Silky saw. I'm really glad that I added this to my kit, and now I have 2 saws just in case.
Okay, the Silky does pretty good, doesn't it?
That does pretty good. Let me try the other one on another log, because I know I'm going to need it.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Similar log size. Silky. What's this one called?
Agawa.
Let's be honest, cooking in the cold sucks, and that's probably why these videos of people camping in 0-degree weather do so well. I recently picked up a sous vide and vacuum sealer to save time and to ensure that my meat is cooked safely. This has been a game changer for cooking meat and meal prepping for these types of trips. While the entire system has a high cost of entry, I think mine was probably around $400 total. Once you have all the gear, it will change how you camp. I promise. To all of you who have tried carrying oil or liquids in your camp kit, I have the solution for you, or instead OXO does. Their new squeeze bottles are amazing. I have had 0 leaks, and they are well worth the $10 that you're going to spend gifting them, probably to yourself. Just get a set, get a couple sets. I am so surprised it took this long for someone to come up with this solution.
There it goes.
Now to the Jetboil. I was leery to get one of these. I don't drink coffee and I rarely carry dehydrated meals, so I haven't really thought they were for me. However, they are great for cooking things like rice or just heating water for dishes very quickly. And since they pack so small, it's kind of a no-brainer to carry one alongside my larger stove. And that's another reason why I don't have a dual burner stove, in case you were wondering. Tonight is my first night cooking with grapeseed oil. Oops. All is well. The trick is to stay calm, let it burn off before catching everything on fire. And I gotta say though, that the sear on this chicken was really great after that, let's just say, outburst. This little cutting board is also from Oxo. I swear I raided their section at REI and I could not be happier. It comes with a tray that you can nest the board in, and with a trench around the outside of the board, it is perfect for resting meats that come right off the pan. As for my knife, this is the fancy Overland Chef knife from Messermeister. These suckers are premium knives. They are better than my knives at home, and just like any other premium knife, they're super expensive. I think for the both of them, it was about $300. And if that's in your budget, great. Whoever you give these to is going to love them, even if you give them to yourself. If you're looking for a good knife to give and a good knife set, the Camp Chef knife set is amazing. And it's only about $75. Comes with 2 knives, a meat fork, and tongs. I think that the cold messes with our brains. I forgot that I packed only half a cup of rice, and I put a full cup of water in the jet boil. So tonight it looks like I'm having rice porridge with my lemon and rosemary chicken. But honestly, whatever. It's hot, and that is all that I care about. Because I just put my new deck system in, I did forget one thing at home, and it is one of my all-time favorite pieces of gear, my new Dometic water faucet. Luckily, my Dometic water jug that pairs with it has a backup water spigot, but that did freeze, which, hey, what a good opportunity to pull out one of my new favorite items, my knife, my new Leatherman arc. Since getting this, it has been with me everywhere, and you will be the holiday hero if you can get your hands on one. Give it a shot. Try and get a Leatherman arc. It's going to cost you about $240. Now back to the jet boil to get some dishes done. This little guy really has become a staple of my kitchen kit.
Jeez.
I'm sad that I ignored it for so long. It has made camping so much easier. Let me show you the real star of the show on these cold nights. It's my diesel heater. You can get this cheap Vever heater on Amazon for around $100, but you have to kind of build it out yourself. I've built mine into a Harbor Freight box using a kit on Etsy from a maker that I would now consider a friend, Keegan Builds. If you are making a diesel heater, his kit is the only one you should be looking at. I do have a full heater build video in the works on how I built this diesel heater, so if you want to build your own diesel heater, now's probably a good time to hit that subscribe button. With the tent preheating, it is time to toss my bedding in while my brother Blake has a turn to enjoy the solo stove now that his tent is all set up. Tonight we're expecting temperatures of around 5 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 15 degrees Celsius. So I'm bringing an electric blanket as a base layer. A few videos ago, I talked about the new Zonely blanket, which is a great blanket, and I'm sure many of you purchased one based on my recommendation. You still did a good thing. However, on the day that I published that video, Ignik launched their new electric blanket. And because I'm a gear nerd, I wanted to try it out too. Both blankets are honestly very similar, but I do think that the way the Ignik connects to the larger battery like my Anchor is much smoother, plus it does have an 8-hour timer. So if I were really pitted against both of them, I would go for the Ignik over the Zonely, and the Ignik is what I have linked below. This year I switched from an old TJ Maxx pillow to these Hest pillows. Holy game changer, Batman. One of the best decisions I have ever made. They are super comfortable and easy to pack. I have no notes for improvement on these. Just get one and keep up the good work, Hest. Let's talk bedding. I do not use a sleeping bag. Instead, I added the Aeronaut quilts as my main bedding, and I haven't looked back. They are 750 downfill and come in 2 sizes. The smaller red one is the Fire quilt and is more of a throw blanket. I like to use this as the blanket that is closest to me when I'm sleeping in these freezing temperatures. But in the summer, it's great as a blanket just kind of all around. You can sit around the fire with it, or it's great for passengers needing a comfortable snooze on those long drives. The larger blanket, the Hover quilt, is the real star of my sleeping show. This is massive. It is with me on every single trip. I have to say that I had sticker shock when I first saw it. It costs $500. And that is not at all a budget blanket. So do not think that this is a budget list, because I'm telling you right here, I just told you about a $500 blanket. The number of nights that I have slept comfortably and warm because of this are innumerable. It is single-handedly the thing that has changed my sleeping the most, next to having a camper. So if there is one big gift that you want to get someone, and they're probably not really expecting it, I know I could talk about a lot of expensive gear. I mean, heck, we talked about a $1,300 fire pit in my last video. But this is one you will not regret. The Aeronaut Hover quilt. It is one of my favorite items I have. For clothes storage, I've been using a Peak Design 65 liter for years. And this year, when Peak Design became a channel sponsor, thank you Peak Design, I asked them for their new 45 liter bag, and I'm very glad I did. The 65 liter is an amazing bag. It has treated me well, and I still have it and I still use it, but it's for those longer trips when I just have to pack more junk. On trips like this, where I don't have all that much stuff, it's an overnighter, this little 45 liter that I have, which is the Huckberry Special Edition, is the perfect size. And it still works with their packing cubes and everything else in their ecosystem. So I have to say, this is the best duffel bag on the market. You're welcome. On a side note, another reason to get the Devos is that the head is portable, so you can take it off of the stick, and that is what I'm using to actually light the camper right now. Okay, good night. Good morning. I slept amazing last night. I was toasty. I actually got a little bit too warm. I had to turn the heater down and I turned off the electric blanket. But now that it is morning, it is time to do all of the bedding setup I just did in reverse. I love how quickly these aeronaut quilts pack away, and because they pack away so small, I barely notice them in the cab of the truck. I like to keep them in the cab because it keeps them warm and it avoids the risk of getting them wet. If you do not know this already, downfill hates water, and if it gets wet, it will lose loft and it just won't do what it's supposed to do. So I keep these in the cab to avoid ruining them. The Ignik, it has a stuff sack, but I gotta say, it barely fits in it. I struggled with that on this trip. I think they do have a pro bag that you can get for it. I would recommend looking into that. I know for a while that if you bought it on their site, you would get the pro bag included. I don't know if that's still a deal. I think that was only a Black Friday thing. Anyway, I probably should have just left that blanket lying flat and packed it away with the camper, but here we are. As I get dressed, this seems like a really good time to talk about a subject I've been trying to avoid, which is apparel. Nobody wants clothes as a gift, but hot dang, if these Livzen overalls haven't become one of my favorite things. I'm clearly no supermodel, but they fit perfectly. They are true to size and stretchy, so I don't feel like I'm fighting against them when I'm trying to maneuver. They sell out constantly, so if you see your size in stock, you've got to get on it and order some before they're gone. I actually missed out on ordering these in the fall of 2022 when they first announced them, and I didn't get this pair until I saw they were back in stock this last summer. They are well worth it. A second pair in black is in my future. I do have to say though, they do cost $200. Why clothes are getting so expensive, I can't say, but I really like these and I'm gonna buy a second pair. As I pack away the diesel heater, I want to let you know about the Step 22 Stingray box. It's what I've been using to hold all of the hoses and power cables. This one is the smaller one, and I gotta say, I love these things. We should all carry a few different Stingrays in different sizes, material styles, and just everything, because having them for random needs like this is essential. They are some of the toughest soft boxes I know of, and the company is run by one of the nicest dudes in the industry. If you're watching this, Adam, hi. Thanks for making a cool product.
Can I put this in here? Yep.
With the camper packed up, everything continues in reverse to get all of the gear loaded into the truck. It is freezing this morning, absolutely frigid, and we need to get off the mountain before everybody with their snowmobiles start to show up and take over our campsite as a staging area. One last piece of kit to talk about, and a great stocking stuffer, the Peak Design mobile mount with the 20mm ball. This integrates perfectly with the 67 Designs ecosystem, which if you don't have that on your gift list, you absolutely should. And it holds my phone stable while I'm bouncing around all of the nasty trails. Not to mention, it is super slick to pull off my phone without hassling with levers or springs or any of that stuff. Best system out there for mounting a phone in your vehicle. Hands down, bar none, this is it. With everything packed up, we can now roll out. Sure enough, it was so cold last night that the road down the canyon was frozen over. While I love my Falcon RTs and they have been amazing everywhere, they aren't the best for snow and ice. And I have to say that the pucker factor while sliding down these shelf roads hit a solid 9.9. Luckily, we made it off the mountain without incident, and we'll be back next week for more adventure. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of this commercial disguised as an adventure video. If you did make it this far and you want to leave a comment, start your comment with the phrase, "Dear Santa," and I'll make sure I respond to you. That does it for me. If you like the video, please like the video. If you have a question, leave me a comment. And if you want to hang out again, well, make sure to subscribe. Till next time, I'm Justin B. McBride. As always, a special thanks to the channel supporters. If you want to join this exclusive list, hit the join button under this video for more details. And because I know you love me, I have queued up one of my older adventure videos for you right here. Give that a click, and let's enjoy more Utah camping together. I'll see you in that one.